Testing 1, 2, 3. Pulling my chart up. I'm gonna officially start the live at 1:30. This is going to be for the next 4 zodiac signs. I did a stream earlier today. This one is going to be for Leos, Virgos, Libras, and Scorpios. All right, what's going on, everybody? It's your man Chris Dazir here, back with another live stream. This is my second one for the day. This is going to be 2022 breakdown for Sagittarius season, which is coming up November 22nd. This is going to be the start of Sagittarius season. Now, what does that mean? I already did a live stream earlier today, which is up on my channel, for Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and Cancer. This one is going to be for Leo, Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio. I'm going to go over the beginning of the month, the middle of the month, and what is happening at the very end of the month, right up till the day right before Capricorn season starts. I'm going to give another quick rundown of what Sagittarius means for everybody who may not know. Sagittarius is travel, it is education, it is higher education, it is colleges, campuses, universities, it is teachers, it is gurus, it is mentors, it is people who have experience in a field that can teach somebody about it. It is philosophy. It is, and it points to your race. It points to your race. It points to your skin color. It points to the skin in general as an organ. So all hair that grows on your body in accordance to your skin points to Sagittarius as well. It points to your hips, your legs, your buttock muscles. That is all Sagittarius as well. It is luck, fortune, happiness. These are keywords that you can find for it when you're talking about Sagittarius as a sign. And speaking of Sagittarius, we are currently about to enter in its season. A zodiac season does not start the same time as the beginning and ending of a month. Usually the season will start anywhere from about 19 days the earliest to about 23 days the latest into a standard calendar, Gregorian calendar month. But on average, each season starts at about 21, 22 to 23 degrees. Now, I'm going to get right into it. Let's go with Leo. Leo. First things first, I'm going to read what's going to happen to you during the beginning of the month, or beginning of the season. Leos, in your first house is going to be empty. You're going to have no planets there. But just because your first house is empty does not mean that you do not have activity going on during that period of time. Leos, for you, you have in opposition to your first house. Leos are going to be people who are active. They are active in their egos, their emotions, their expressions of how they take care of and feel for themselves, their ego, their personal expression, their love affairs, affairs of the heart, always doing what their heart tells them to do and seem to do what's right. They have Saturn in the 7th. They currently have Saturn in the 7th because Saturn is currently in Aquarius. So when it comes to your relationships, your marriages, your partnerships, business, romantic, whatever type of partnership or cooperation you have right now, you're finding it difficult during this period of time. You find it challenging. You're finding delays, but it also can point to you having serious partnerships during this period of time. But for the most part, Saturn tends to be a malefic and will point to difficulties you could be facing. So that is the dichotomy between the first to your seventh house. Now let's go to your second house. Your second house currently does not have any planets in aspects to it as well. But your second house being Virgo means you are a person who values your work, values practice, who values perfection. And in opposition, 180 degrees away is your eighth house. And in your eighth house right now is Neptune. Neptune is in Pisces, and so is Jupiter currently in Pisces for you. Your eighth house is the house that points to your life in general, in terms of from the moment you are born to here right now, and to the day you will one day return to where you once came from. That is your entirety of your life. It points to your obsessions. It turns to what you want for. It is your source of power. It is your battery. It points to batteries. It points to power. The power you have, your willpower, what you want to say and what you want to do in all terms of life and death. You have Neptune in the eighth house, and your eighth house happens to be Pisces, the ruling sign of Neptune. So with that in mind, you must know that you are for a fact, in fact, in a position, in a period of time right here, right now, where you have been for the longest while now, having to deal with dreams, having to deal with obsessions over your dreams, obsession, or having the power over your belief system, having to deal with people who believe in things you just do not currently believe in, and you had one of two options: to let it end up, taking away from your life essence or energy, or learn to transform from somebody else's belief system and have it affect you as you grow throughout your experience, as it helps to help mold and shape your life. And with Jupiter there as well, that means a massive push is back right now. We had Jupiter in Saturn. No, we had Jupiter in Pisces about 6, maybe 7 months ago. What time is it right now? It's 11 months. So we had Jupiter in Pisces almost over a year ago now. It was in Pisces, and then it transitioned into Aries, but it went retrograde recently, back from the beginning of Aries back into Jupiter. So this is energy you haven't felt for about a year, that you're finally starting to hit you again. When it comes to this energy, with this obsessive energy, this energy that feels like, you are regenerating, this transformative, this powerful sense of energy going around you being able to exercise your power. So when it comes to your ninth house, or let me say it this way, when it comes to your third house is Libra. That means you are a person who communicates about government. You always speak on governments. You speak on what a government is doing. You speak in relation to the law, acts, codes. You're a person you're an intellectual when it comes to regulation, rules, on an intellectual when it comes to marriage, how marriages should be run, um uh how etiquette should be going about, how diplomacy and things of that nature should be read. Speaking of how you believe the government should be run and things of that nature. And in opposition to your third house is the ninth house. And in your ninth house right now from Libra is Aries. And in your ninth house, you have Chiron. The ninth house, like I told you, is also it is also the house that Sagittarius rules. It is also the place that Jupiter rules. You have Chiron there right now. Chiron is pointing to things you cannot control, as in you're in a situation where you may have needed something from somebody and you're trying to get it from them, And by the time you finally reach them, you realize that person told you, I was nowhere in the vicinity to give you what you needed. I was completely somewhere else. Some other thing had came up in my life, situation that you just can't control because things come up in life. That is what Chiron points to. It also points to what you have to make up for, you yourself. And with Chiron being Aries means you have taken actions, you have been impulsive when it comes to your travels, you have been impulsive when it comes to um um your beliefs, or your actions, your actions towards a different race from you. You have been very impulsive towards that, or somebody has done that to you. Somebody has been very impulsive or angry towards you because of your race, because your level of success. Maybe you were impulsive or angry or got into an argument with somebody over their level of success, and now you have to make up for that. Or maybe now, since that happened to you, you again have to make up for that because there was nothing you can do about it. It was in the heat of the moment and it happened. That is what Aries dictates when it's in the place of Chiron in the ninth. The MC will be there as well. That points to career. You're going to be very active during your career during that period of time. In your 10th house of Taurus, you currently still have Uranus in the North Node there. That means when it comes to your career, it feels like crisis is going on. It may even feel like it is your destiny in terms of your career. You are going forward and doing things that are furthering on along your career, whether you naturally want to or not. It comes to your land and your investment. But with Uranus there, Uranus points to calamity. Uranus points to crashing. Uranus is ruled by Aquarius. Aquarius is in a natural square, 90-degree position, or a harsh aspect to um Taurus. So when Uranus is conjunct in Taurus, that points to calamity in terms of your career, calamity or crash and explosion in terms of your monetary gain, your ability to trade. It points to tanking. This entire Bitcoin situation that's going on right now, this entire stock market situation where the price is inflating, and the stock or worth of online currency has been tanking, has been because of this Uranus in Taurus calamity, an explosion, an implosion. All of that points to that. You may feel like that too, but it also can point to your friends being weird and unusual in the workplace. You have seriously weird or unusual friends that you have and you agree with at certain points and periods of time. 1 second now. That's what I like to see. Okay. So I got some good news, relatively. And when it comes to your 11th house, your 11th house is going to have a connection to your 5th house. But before I do that, I did not talk about your 4th house. Your 4th house has a connection to your 10th house, which is Taurus, which is home to your Uranus right now. Your 4th house has the moon in it. The moon is in its natural place of comfort in the 4th house. But your moon turns family is in Scorpio. That points to you having hate, jealousy, resentments toward your family growing up, a motherly figure, a parental figure growing up. And then now points that during this period of time, you're going to be feeling that as well, especially with it being in opposition to Uranus during the beginning period of this month. That points to you may feel like you may feel emotionally detached to your family during the beginning of this month, or you may feel like an emotional implosion, an emotional calamity is going on at the moment or right now in your home during the beginning of that month because of because of finances and because of people um, coming after taxes, or just tending to hold resentment towards things they should not want to or should not have to, hold resentments towards in terms of your family or a parental figure or a motherly type source or caretaker, a bouncer, even somebody who you hire to protect you. When it comes to um um your fifth house, Leo, your fifth house is Aries. No, your fifth house is Sagittarius. Your fifth house is Sagittarius. The natural ruler of house ruler of the fifth of Leo is the fifth house. Leo is naturally at home in the fifth house, and the sun rules the fifth house. Currently, the sun is in your fifth house, or it will be in this season of Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is naturally your fifth house. So you have your sun at home in your fifth house. Therefore, during this period of time, you should be being doing very well in terms of regards of traveling, learning at a broad rate, visiting sites that have that are massive. You also have Venus there. Venus points to commerce. Venus points to trading. Venus points to money. L'argent. That is a Haitian Creole term for money, because you also have Mercury there as well. Mercury in Sagittarius. Mercury points to language, and Sagittarius is foreign. So foreign language, or the foreign word for money. So during this period in time, you can do business in a foreign country, and you may have to speak a different language while you are there if you're going to be doing that, or you may go on an undertaking to 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 um practice your communication skills in terms of etiquette, beauty, practice communications, your writing, communicate on art, foreign art that is unusual to you from a foreign land, things of that nature. You may go out to express yourself during this period of time at parties with your brothers, your sisters, your siblings, party or an event, special event being Venus, and with your brothers and sisters, cousins, neighbors is Mercury during this period of time, where you get to express yourself and going on an adventure during this period of time. So you could make a large amount of income. This also points to traveling to a different state, and you can make money over the phone, talking to a long distance person and make income over the phone, meet a potential romantic partner, start talking to them over the phone, and it's a long distance type of relationship. It points to that as well, Leo, and that is opposite. And in opposition to that is your 11th house of Gemini, and in your 11th house you currently have Mars in Gemini in opposition. Well, it's not in a direct opposition during the beginning of this month. Somewhere near the middle of this month, it's going to run over that opposition. So to get ready or to prepare for that, know what that means. That does point to um yeah, I see you, Joel. Okay, I got you right after this. I got a special request from my friend I haven't seen in a long time. Let me finish this one reading for Leo. When it comes to your 11th house, with your 11th house being Gemini, that does point to your friends, your neighbors, your acquaintances being very impulsive, or maybe you are speaking to them more now. Gemini points to communication with your friends. Uranus, networking, comes to networking events. It points to you being unique, you actively being unique, you showing yourself, Mars, out to your friends during this period of time, to be communicative with them. And your 12th house is going to be Cancer. You don't have anything currently in your 12th house, Leo, but in opposition to your 12th house, you have your 6th house. And in your 6th house, I would have to say in your sixth house, you have Pluto. You currently have had Pluto in your sixth house. Pluto in the sixth house points to Pluto in your sixth house points to you having to work. You having to work at a job you do not necessarily like the best, or you are obsessive over your job during this period of time right here, right now. You are obsessing to be the best, perfect your work. Pluto being in the sixth house points to perfection, practice. You are practicing and practicing at your job, and you might be killing yourself over the amount of work you are doing. You are killing yourself with the amount of work you're doing because you are obsessing over making it perfect to get what you want. You don't have to go too hard for that. I know you're doing it for your family, which is the opposition. I know you're doing it for your family, but don't kill yourself too much over it. You're going to get what you need to get. Now, I have a special request from a friend for his chart, so I'm going to pull his chart up and give him a quick 15-minute reading. The next time I see him in person, I can give him a more detailed one. And this is going to be an early Sagittarius reading. So if you do not want to pull up for later tonight's live stream, you can catch it on this reading right here. Let me pull up a different chart. And I can double task at the same time. So Virgo, while I'm pulling up this other chart, Virgo, this chart is going to represent you. I am a Virgo rising myself. Therefore, this chart also applies to me as well. 1 hour. Okay. Virgo, your first house is going to be empty, but opposite your first house is going to be Pisces. Your relationship house, Virgo, your relationship house points to you having Neptune, the ruler of your relationship house, in there, and you also have Jupiter in there as well. You had this energy about a year ago, 11.86 months ago. You had this energy. During this period of time, we are seeing this energy come back again. During this period of time, Virgo, you were out looking for relationships, or you ran into a relationship partner that was more spiritual, more had the same belief system as you, and you had a massive Jupiter crush on them. You had a massive want and need and desire to want to come for them. So this applied to me as well. If you did not find that partner during this small window gap period of time, you do have a chance again. This retrograde of Jupiter is giving you another chance to find a partner during this period. But if you do not get it this time, do not fret. There are other aspects in your chart. In your second house is Libra. Currently, there's nothing transiting in Libra for the second part of your chart. But in opposition to Libra is Aries, and currently you have Chiron in your 8th house. The 8th house, Virgo, is the house of life, your entire life, from the moment you are born to the moment you die. That is going to be your second, that is the second house. That is going to be your second house. 1983. 1983. 83, 1204, 1 month, December, 1983. That is going to be your 8th house. So 8th house points to beginnings. It points to the beginning of your life, birth, pregnancies. It also points to dying, regeneration. It points to power, willpower. I can do this if I will myself to do so. You having Chiron there. Chiron is your wounds. Chiron is things in life you cannot account for. With Chiron being there, Chiron points to you not having the power to control things. You not having the power to control things. Control things. Sagittarius, 1983, 1984. Not having the power to control things that come over you. 1984, 12, 4, 1983. Sagittarius Sun. 42 Sagittarius Sun. Okay. Let's see. 1 hour. Okay. For Joel, during this period of time, Joel style, whenever he comes back in this chart, he can have this. But during the period of time while I wait, I'm going to put the timestamp. It was for Leo. I'm going to say Leo round ended around 20 minutes. Leo ended at 20. Leo 20. All right. This is going to be for Joel. This is going to be an early Sagittarius reading. I do not know his ascendant. This is going to be basically on his sun sign. Okay. Sagittarius season is coming up right now. During the beginning of Sagittarius season, Joel is a person who he has Jupiter in his first house. This is a person who is a traveler. This is a person who tends to be happy in life. This is a person who actively acts on his beliefs. He has Mercury there as well. He tends to be a person who thinks before he acts, who speaks on his it also points to him speaking on his beliefs. A person who values communication, who talks seriously about topics. He seriously, when he's speaking, he tends to be serious when he's talking about his value system. When it comes to things like that, he has Moon in Sagittarius as well. Moon in Sagittarius points to him when it comes to his emotional state. He tends to be an emotionally happy person. He tends to be emotionally happy when it comes to things like that, but he can tend to be reserved when it comes to his emotion. Uranus in Sagittarius as well. That points to a influx of friends, a person who can have a mass amount of friends at any given time. Or he's also had he's seen large scale calamities happening to his people, to his race of people. Uranus points to thunderstorms, lightning storms, typhoons, explosions, earthquakes, hurricanes. All of these things happening in Sagittarius is foreigners. Your race, your skin color, your people, where you come from. This is a person who's also witnessed or have realized by the time he's left his country, or while he comes to a different country, that he has seen destruction or things happening during his period of time is there as well. Sun, moon. Joel is a person who was born on an exact, well, I wouldn't say exact because I don't know I haven't done his full birth chart, but this is a person born on a new moon. That is when the sun is conjunct the moon. So this man's personality is directly tied in with his emotions, and he tends to be more on the happy, more philosophical side of the discussion. No problem, Joel. When it comes to Saturn, you have Saturn in Scorpio. Saturn in Scorpio. Scorpio is life. Scorpio is power. Scorpio turns to dying, living. It points to birth processes and things like that of that nature. Willpower in general. In a general sense, Saturn points to hard. Scorpio is a life. This is a person that has had a hard life. This is a person who has a very experienced life. He has done a lot in his life during that period of time. He also has Scorpio in Pluto in Scorpio, the sign of life in the ruler of life, but that would be in his 12th house. So he's not a person he's a person that tends to be more reserved when it comes to speaking about the difficulties he's had in his life to other people. And with Pluto there as well in his natural 12th, that points to dreams or situations where in private that he would not speak about with most people on the surface of maybe dreams of death, or maybe a painful death, things of that nature. Dreams like that could have appeared on anywhere, any period of time in his life, to keep it general. With Venus in Libra, Venus naturally rules the sign of Libra. Libra points to marriage. Libra points to law, government. It points to officials. It points to acts, codes. It points to nature. If this is a person who, with Libra in Uranus, Libra is in a natural trine to Uranus. Libra with a natural trine to Uranus points to somebody who, when with friends, would like to go outside with friends, would be at events with friends, network, go out his way. Food would be a big factor when it comes to friends as well, when it comes to parties and situations and things like that. When it comes to that, when it comes to technology, making money, money is Venus, and Uranus, the 11th house, rules online. So this is a person who dabbles with online money sources of money online, anything online. It could be taking pictures. I'm trying to make this specific to him, but also general to the general audience, so you know I can read charts. Crypto, forex, anything, a pair of online and things of that as well. And the reason, uh, and let's see what else before I go on. He has Mars in Libra. Mars in Libra points to somebody who is very aggressive, active, impulsive, first the go-getter when it comes to his relationships. So he's the one that ends up leading, being the macho figure, the manly figure, the one who pushes and drives the relationship forward in the direction that he sees fit when it comes to that as well. And where else? His ninth, 10th, and 11th house. And I'm going to give a general sun sign ascendant reading for Sagittarius as well. When it comes to um his North Node in Gemini. North Node represents what the Creator, God, the universe, whatever you want to say, allows you or has sent you here to do this time. You have come here this time to acquire more information, acquire more intelligence. People with North Node in Gemini, the person who taught me astrology has North Node in Gemini. This is a person who has books, pens, papers, notes, cards, letters, typing on the phone. This is a person who has come here this time to be put in situations that is going to require him to gather more intelligence and use his brain and use his thoughts and his mind more frequently in those things like that. With this upcoming month, now tying it back into Sagittarius season, I'm doing a Sagittarius season reading early before my next stream, just to make it. He has uh the sun at 11 degrees. That means his sun is at 11 degrees, which means when the sun comes 11 degrees, well, I'm going too far. This is hour. Keep it here. Okay. When the sun is going to be 11 degrees, which will be on his birthday, what will he see on that day? What he should see on that day? Sun at 11 degrees. When the sun is at 11 degrees that day, the moon is going to be in a trine to his natal moon. So emotionally, he may be having good emotions, or that might be a day where he can be quickly emotionally impulsive. He might be quickly emotionally impulsive that day. When it comes to um Jupiter, his Jupiter is at 19 degrees Sagittarius. Transiting Jupiter is in Neptune, 28 degrees. It is not going to be in a perfect orb, but when it comes to Jupiter on that day, he won't be seeing too much around that. But during this period of time where Jupiter is still in a square to Sagittarius, he may be having trouble during this period of time when it comes to happiness, travel. He may be restricted from travel because of his beliefs, because of sickness during this period of time, things of that nature as well. Anything key factors he should see as well. His Mercury will be in a trine. Mercury, what will Mercury be for him? His Mercury won't be in a direct trine, but that is a basic reading because I don't want to spend too long on this. I don't want to spend too long on this, and I guess I can probably see one more. Mercury is currently in a trine to him, so Mercury is in Gemini and he has Mercury. No, Mars is in Gemini and he has Mars in Libra. So this points to during this period of time. I don't know if he's still in this call or if he hears this, but let me go back. Let's see if it's gonna hit there. If it's gonna hit there. Okay. This is going to be for Joel if he's still in this chat and he sees this. This is one thing I'm gonna tell him. On December, yes, it's gonna be, oh my god. Okay, December 13th. When it comes to Mars, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. His Mars is at 9 degrees. Oh, so I don't even need to go that far. Okay, I don't even need to go that far. You don't even need to go that far. His Mars is at 9 degrees, Libra. So when December 1st hits, the beginning of December 1st, around that period of time, either a day before or a day after, but on December 1st, if Joel were to go outside, his transiting sun is going to be making an exact aspect to Mars. What does that mean? That means on that day, December 1st, when his sun comes 9 degrees, when transiting sun comes 9 degrees and it hits exactly 9 degrees to his natal Mars position, if he were to go outside, he would see red everywhere. Red cars, fire trucks, police, people getting into arguments, ambulances. If he were to go outside that day, he would see an abundance of things that point to police, ambulances, fire trucks, red cars, red trucks, people just wearing red. He may see people break out into an argument. He may even see a house. He may even see fire. He may even see, and because it's in Sagittarius, he may see foreigners. He may see people of a different race than him needing help with the police, calling the police. Or you may see a giant building, a huge building being called upon for police work. Or you just might see a gigantic red vehicle, because I forgot to tell you that as well. Sagittarius also points to vehicles as well. Anything that is regarded for travel. But that was a reading for Joel. I was in the middle of doing a reading for Virgo to get back to that, but I need to do this for a second. That is going to stay in my chat, so I have that. When it comes for Virgos, we left off at your second house, if I am correct. If I left off at your second house, therefore, I'm going to have to make this second one quick. I'm going to have to go quickly through the signs because I did take up more time. Okay. Virgos. Virgos. Yes, your second house is Libra. You have Chiron in your eighth. Nothing you can do about that there. So that means when it comes to life, you can't do anything, or you have to make up for poor life decisions, or life is gonna hit you, is gonna hit you real fast with something you're not ready for, and you're going to have to deal with it. I can attest to that as well. Your third house, Virgo, is going to be Scorpio. In your third house, you have the moon, which means a lot of speaking or communicating with your family members. Also, the sun. Okay. For some reason, I see why. November 29, one day. Yep. Going to be one day. When it comes to your sun, Venus, and Mercury are going to be in your fourth house, Virgo. So when it comes to your home life, right now, that is a square position to you. The sun will be on the IC that day. That is going to be a square to you. Therefore, you may find challenges at home, challenges if you work in a home situation, because Mercury points to the job and co-workers. So if you have the moon in the third house or the moon in the sixth house, depending on the reading I gave you, Mercury points to your work that you actually do, and it points to the co-workers. Saturn points to your career, and it points to the boss, the manager, and the managerial practices. If you are a co-worker, you work with co-workers at a job, or the job you're doing yourself versus the actual career that you are in, that is the difference between Mercury and Saturn. So this could mean, because the moon is in your third house, since the moon is in your third house, you could be working in a home field, caretaking field, things of that nature as well. And with Sagittarius being in your fourth, that can mean traveling to a home. That can mean finding happiness at a home, and brings Mercury, happiness among coworkers in a home situation, because people do work from home now. And Venus there as well means you may be working at a home situation for money, for commerce. You may be trading, or you may be decorating your home with art during this period of time, things of that nature. Opposite your fourth being your fourth of Pisces, no, your fourth of Sagittarius, Gemini being your 10th, you have Mars in your Mars there. You have Mars in your first. And I don't think for Leo, for some reason, I don't think I may have talked about the middle and ending of the sign. It's crazy. A lot to be done. A lot to be done. Okay, when it comes to the beginning of the sign, bare minimum for you. And if you want to catch what I said about Leo, I'm going to finish it off during Sagittarius season breakdown. When it comes to you, Gemini, when it comes to you, not Gemini, Virgo, since you have Mars in your 10th, Mars in your 10th, that means you are impulsive, you are acting quickly towards your career, and you can find difficulties because of that impulsiveness, because of the delays it may take. Mars is in a natural square position to Capricorn, is in a natural square position, a 90-degree aspect, anything on the same axis, aka cardinal axis, mutable axis, or fixed axis, not in that order. Anything on the same axis is going to be in a square position to one another. So when you go through your impulsive phases, try to minimize the damage that you're going through, and realize it is all part of the life you are currently living. Your fifth house has Pluto in it. Pluto in your fifth house means obsessing over romances. You're obsessing over expressing yourself. Again, Pluto being in the 5th house, that is also a square position placement because the 8th house is naturally square the 5th house. So Pluto, the ruler of the 8th house, being in the 5th house means during this period of time and during these past 13 years, just about, you have been obsessing over romance, obsessing over it. Well, Pluto is going to come out of Capricorn sometime in March, early March, right before Aries season 2023. Then it will retrograde back into Capricorn, and then starting sometime 2024, it will transition into Aquarius, your 6th house, for the rest of the period of time, for the next 20 years. So we're going to get a little taste of what it's like for Pluto to be into Aquarius. Then we'll retrograde back into Capricorn. So we get a little taste of what the future is going to have to bring for us. And this is for all signs. So I've covered your 6th house having Saturn in it. Have I? Your 12th, well, 6th house having Saturn in it means you are focusing on your work as a scientist, focusing on your work as an astrologer during this period of time right here, right now. Already talked about your 7th house in relation to your second house, your 8th, your 9th, your 10th, your 11th, and your 12th. All right. So, let me not skip that again. During the middle of the month, about 18 degrees in, during around the middle of the month, the middle of the season, about 18 degrees in, I would have to say for a fact that you will now have Venus and Mercury in your 5th house. Venus and Mercury in your 5th house. Venus and Mercury being in your 5th house, along with Pluto, points to you spending money on relationships during this period of time. Venus doesn't necessarily like being in the 5th house because the 5th house is in a square to the ruler of the 2nd, but Venus also rules the 7th, so it can be a good placement as well, depending on what's going on in your life during that period of time. So this points to relationships formed with romantic partners. That points to that in that thing as well. And with Mercury there as well, Mercury points to you finding confidence in your career situations because Mercury rules your house of career and your house of work. So it points to you having confidence in your career situation during these periods of time. In this period of time. When it comes to the end of the month, because every other sign should be the same, during the middle of the month, your moon will also be in Cancer, your 11th house. So moon being in Cancer during this period of time for you Virgos, moon in Cancer will point to it being in your natal 11th house. So this points to you being friends or being in more familiar situations with your family members, your homies pulling up that you consider your close friends pulling up. This can point to you being detached to your family while at home. You can be at home and be detached from your family for a period of time because you are, again, focusing so much on your work and your career during this period of time as well, tying everything back in together. And during the end of the month, when the moon goes into Scorpio season, when the moon enters Scorpio during the end of the month, this is going to be in your 3rd house again. So it is going to come full circle. You're going to be back to working, thinking about your work, going back to your career and thinking about it again. You're just going to be going through the cycle. Now, let's go back. Now, Virgo ends at 5016. 16. All right, now let us do boom, boom. Let's go. Let's go. Let us do the next sign. Libra. Libra on the first. Well, Libra, you have nothing in your first house, but in your seventh house, your house of relationships and partnerships, you have Chiron. This points to you or a partner that you have being impulsive, and there is nothing that you could have done about their anger, the impulsivity, or there's nothing you could have done about your anger, your impulsivity during this period of time. So you're going to have to deal with it. It also points to it is also going to point to what's going to happen next in your second house. In your second house, you have the moon and the sun. The moon, basically the moon in your second house. The moon in your second house points to this. Moon in your second, and this is even if your sign is intercepted. I do not know your exact rising sign. I do not know your exact ascendant. I do not know the exact degree it is at. So even though you may be having your moon in Scorpio, and it's supposed to be your natural second house, and you may have it in your first house, for instance, or you may have your sun that is the ruler of your third house in your second house. I'm not going to equate for that because this is a generalized reading, but I do understand that does take place as well. So when it comes to that, in that motion and how that plays out as well, with the sun, when it comes to um when it comes to um your second house, you value your household, you value power, you value being able to have willpower, you value life, you value the give and take situation that has in life, you value gold, precious metals, things of that nature. You do value being able to uh, have power over situations, having a sense of you have the ability to get what you need to get done. You have value in that. And with the moon there, you have a value, or you're going to be trying to be more persuasive or coercive towards your family during this period of time. And in your third house, and with that in opposition to your eighth house, you have Uranus there. So during this period of time, you're going to try to, in Scorpio's natural ruling house, the eighth house for you, Libra, you're going to try to be more coercive with your family on that day, the beginning. You're going to be trying to be more coercive towards your family on that day. Coercive towards your family during that day, or you're trying to provide value to your family, because during this period in time we have Uranus in your eighth. That is a natural square position. So it has been feeling like your life again has been blowing up in front of your face, imploding on you, feeling like life has been in crisis mode for the past while now. It is also feel like you had resentment towards your friends, or you have been trying to empower your friends. Your friends have been trying to empower you. It can mean the passing of a friend during this period of time. It could also mean that your friends have been giving birth and have been in childbirth or in labor during this period of time as well. And with the North Node in your opposition, the North Node is naturally going to be in Taurus right in here, right now. With the North Node in the eighth, it points to you having to deal with having monetary gains during this period of time, and how during and with those monetary gains, being obsessive over them, being obsessive over your value system, being able to empower yourself, link up with other powerful people to be able to protect your monetary gains and values during this period of time. And going to your third house, you have the sun, Venus, and Mercury there. The sun in your third house, the sun, yes, in your third house of Sagittarius, the sun in your third house of Sagittarius points to you having communication. You're loving to speak on your philosophies, speaking about travel, personalizing your thoughts on travel, on philosophy of things of that nature. And with Venus there as well, you love to speak about, setting up parties, setting to go on trips to foreign lands, to a foreign place, probably going on vacations and things like that. And with Mercury there as well, you are seriously thinking about or working on about to go on another trip, another vacation, and have another celebratory time with your family members, your siblings, your cousins. You may even be going with close friends, neighbors, things of that nature as well. And in your fourth house, Libra, you have Pluto in the fourth. Pluto in the fourth is going to point to you during this period in time having to be, again, obsessive tendencies when it comes to your family. The moon in Scorpio says the same thing as Pluto in the fourth. That's a double indication in my book that you are currently obsessing over your family right now. You're trying to empower your family right now. Your family is trying to empower you during this period of time. A lot of intensities or tense situations about power struggle when it comes to your family right now during this period of time. But the one good thing about that is this: Pluto naturally trines the moon. Scorpio is naturally in trine with a Cancer. Those are two water sign placements. So even though this can be an easy time for you to get overwhelmed and easily be convinced by your family to do things you don't want to do, it can be the opposite as well. You can finally convince your family to do that thing that you know you've wanted to do for a while now. And when it comes to having in your 10th house, the MC will be on your 10th house during that day in Cancer, but it will move throughout the day. But during that small period of time that it is there, that also points to you having family situations. In your fifth house, you have Saturn. Now, Libra, you are naturally in a trine to your fifth house, with Saturn being your fifth house ruler in ancient astrology. But in modern astrology, this points to you being seriously focused right now on your crafts. This also points to you not being able to do your natural talented abilities when it comes to being knowledgeable. You may be at a period of time right now where you lack the knowledge that you need, but you are seriously working on it. Or you may be, even you are now finally being regarded in high status for your knowledge or your ability to detach from situations that require you to be more analytical, mathematic, versus loving and nurturing in probably your workforce or just your career in general. You may be getting more talented to the point where you can work up the ranks in your career, whatever it may be, to a higher managerial position. When it comes to your 11th house, you have nothing in opposition to your 11th house, but your 11th house is Leo. So this is toting on the pull you have away from, again, working on being more loving and working on being more serious and scientific when it comes to matters regarding not just you and yourself and your immediate environment or family. When it comes to your sixth house, you have Neptune and Jupiter there. You have Neptune in Pisces, and you've had Neptune in Pisces. That points to you during that period of time, or in this period of time as well, working with your belief systems, working underground, working in local environments, in the basement, in underground areas. This is working on your belief systems. Your job is being affected by what you believe, or what you believe is the reason why you are working right now. And with Jupiter currently stationed in uh Pisces as well, this also points to you really being into your beliefs, really having a massive amount of happiness in terms of your beliefs when it comes to doing your work during this period of time right now. And I've already went over Aries in your seventh and how Chiron is there and there's nothing you can do about an impulsive partner. I went over your eighth, your 9th, your 10th, your 11th, and your 12th. Now let's go to the middle of the month. I'm sorry, the middle of the season. Let's go to the middle of the season and see how during around 18 degrees it is going to affect you during the middle of the month. During the middle of the month, the energy is now going to shift a little bit. Now you're going to have Libra, Venus and Mercury in Capricorn, your natural, that is going to be your natural fourth house as well. You're going to have Venus and Capricorn there in your fourth house. With Venus and Capricorn in your fourth house, along with Pluto, Venus in your fourth does point to you having care towards your family. It does point to you trying to beautify your home, put art in your home, try to make your home more beautiful. It also points with Mercury there as well. You working on your home. You are obsessively working on making your home more beautiful. You are working with coworkers at your home during that period of time as well. Everything else should be the same except the moon will currently be in Cancer. The moon will be in Cancer during the 18th. The moon being in Cancer during that day is going to point to you having it in your 10th house. The moon, the natural ruler of your 10th house, will be there. This is going to point to you having during this period of time your 10th house with the moon there. That is going to point to you being more into cooking, into family situations. It is going to be more into you having the need to be more towards your families for you during this period of time, Libra. And now let's go to the end of the month for Libra. What is going on, Jazzy? The end of the month for Libras is going to have the moon for you, Libra. For some reason, yeah. During the end of the month, you're going to have the moon in Sag. You're going to have the moon in Scorpio going into Sagittarius. So reading it off the moon in Scorpio, the moon is going to be in your second house during the end of this month, right before Capricorn season starts. That means, again, you're going to come full circle again. You're going to be back to obsessing over your family, working on your career through your family in your familiar career, and going back into valuing your family again. This is the cycle that you're going through this next month. Now, after Libra, we're going to do Scorpio. So let me go back. We're going to go back. I'm going to go back. Let's see. I'm going to go back 0 degrees. It's like an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours. Scorpios. If you're a Scorpio, this is what I've been doing, Jazz Jeet. This is what I do now. I have a job working on stocks and forex trading, things of that by myself, and I do this. This is my life. I love it. Thank you. We're gonna talk about Scorpio. Scorpio is gonna be at the beginning of the month. Scorpio, you're going to have the moon in your first house. The moon in your first house, Scorpio, that is going to be a trine. The moon is naturally likes being in your first house. That means you're going to have a lot of emotional intensity at your home. That means you're going to have power over your home, willpower over your home. You're going to be being able to transform your home. This is you changing up your house, changing what things are going to be in your house, telling your family members or being able to get your family members to do the things that you want them to do, and all of the things like that. When it comes to Sagittarius, it is going to be in your second house. Sagittarius in your second house, along with the Venus and Mercury. Sagittarius in your second house, that means you value travel, Scorpio. You value travel, you value philosophy, you value things at a broad rate, you value your happiness, you value vast, large expanses, mountaintops, skyscrapers, buildings, gigantic things and things of that nature. You value education. And with the sun there, you may be going to or finding yourself in more situations around doing those things, traveling and around, going in vehicles, being at school, being in massive, massive buildings throughout the entirety of the month. With Venus there, Venus in your second house, Venus is naturally in its ruling sign in the second house. With Venus in the second house, that does point to you being able to now, with there being such, that points to you again traveling. Venus is parties, it is celebrations, it is food, it is your throat, it is you being able to gain land. So think about it this way: Venus is land, Jupiter is expanse. During this period of time, if you are not somebody who has an influx of money or something like that, or things of that nature, during this period of time, you may run into a vast amount of income. During this period of time, you may run into a vast amount of income. You may run into a vast amount of income. You may, if you do trade on land, a vast amount of land and things of that nature as well. During this period of time, it also points to doing communication. You may be speaking to family members of trying to get more land. You may be speaking about family members, to family members, your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, your neighbors, about traveling to do things of that nature as well. You may be talking about how um, you're traveling to a foreign land, a foreign restaurant, out of state, going to restaurants that are not of your culture, of a different culture, to eat food, and things of that nature as well. And you may be having conversations as well, looking online, looking for posts, articles. Well, not necessarily online. You may be looking at giant billboards that will be telling you, yes, you can eat here, come here to do this, we can trade here, things of that nature as well. Superstores, uh, Target, Costco, any type of superstore you may go, Whole Foods, you may be finding yourself going to these places more often. When it comes to when it comes to uh, Pluto in the third, Pluto in the third points to Pluto in the third points to it points to Pluto in the third points to um you having obsessions over your thoughts, Scorpio. You're obsessing over your thoughts. You're obsessing over your thoughts. It points to you having really intense thoughts. It points to you thinking about willpower. How can you express your willpower and things of that nature as well. So I've done Leo, Leo, Virgo, Libra, and now Scorpio is going to be the final one I'm doing, just to let y'all know. And then I'll do the final stream later tonight around 8:30, maybe 9 o'clock. That will be the final stream of the day. So that will be your second house. That is your third house I just read. I'm just going in order. But if you want to know the dichotomy, no, I'll just go in order for this one. It'll go back and be the same thing. When it comes to your fourth house, you have Saturn in your fourth house. Saturn is going to be in your fourth house, which is going to be square your sun sign, or reading Scorpio if that is your ascendant. Saturn in your fourth house does point to, for a fact, you having difficulties at homes, dealing with things that having to do with your parents during this period of time, in this next upcoming month of late November, November 22nd. During the beginning of the month, you're going to be having difficulties when it comes to family, parental structures, restrictions on your home life, or the things you can and cannot do to your home, construction on your home, things of that nature as well. And it comes to your fifth house. Your fifth house is going to have Neptune. Neptune in your fifth house is going to be trine the moon in your first house. Neptune and the moon naturally have a trine to one another. Neptune in the fifth house points to having beliefs in yourself. It points to seafood. It points to travel. It points to belief. It points to religion. It points to you going to religious places, churches, spiritual systems, tarot cards, yoga, meditation, and you're doing it to align your core, your heart, your spirit, your God spark, whatever you want to call it. During this period of time, Scorpios, during this beginning period, you're going to find massive happiness during this period of time for these type of things you're going to be going about doing during this motion. And with Jupiter there as well, points to the massive happiness you're going to be finding in terms of your spirituality during this period of time. Chiron is going to be in your sixth house. That means when it comes to your work, there's nothing you can do about it. When it comes to your work, there is nothing that you can do about it. You're going to end up being impulsive, or you're going to find a co-worker, somebody that you work with, or while you are working on perfecting a craft of yours, you are now making up for a time you were impulsive, or you're going to have to deal with people who are going to be impulsive, get angry, start a fight that you had no control over, or you did not know what the outcome was going to be, and you're going to have to recover from that. Your seventh house, your house of relationships, has Uranus in it, and that points to online relationships. That points to relationships based on friendship based relationships. That also points to relationships blowing up in your face, because during this month the sun is going to be in opposition. Oh no, not this well, not the sun. The moon is going to be running through at least twice this month before the end of the month, and by the time it comes back to the end of the month, is going to be running through your seventh house again, pointing to emotional implosions when it comes to your relationship status. Your eighth house, Scorpio, has Mars in it. Your eighth house, the natural ruler of Scorpio, has Mars in it. And in ancient astrology, Mars was pointed to as being the eighth house ruler. Mars was pointed to as being the eighth house ruler. So with Mars in the eighth house, that does point to, for in fact, being impulsive. That does point to quickly trying to change your life, quick transformation, things quickly coming by, somebody physically, actively, forcefully, aggressively trying to convince you, coerce you to do something that you don't want to do during this period of time as well. For you Scorpio, people are trying to force their agenda on you violently, quickly, things of that nature. Your ninth house. Your ninth house is going to be Cancer. Cancer in your ninth house. There's nothing currently in your ninth house. And when it comes to Leo, your 10th house, Leo being in your 10th house, you have no direct placements there, but during the beginning of the month, you're going to have the MC that's going to point to you having difficulties or a more of a relationship aspect between your boss or parental figures, or you as a parent and a co-parent in your home in the beginning of the month. Covered your 11th, covered your 12th. They're going to be in aspects to your 5th and your 6th in terms of opposition. Now, let me keep going. Forward moving the clock. November 23rd. One day. Okay, around the 18th for Scorpios. You are going to have, for a fact, you're going to have Venus and Neptune currently in your third house. Venus and Neptune in your third house points to you making money over the phone. It also points to you working for your income, or doing something with co-workers in terms of communicating with your co-workers, trying to make income over the phone, using your intelligence, trying to find a new way to make income over the phone. You ordering food over the phone. You may order some food that day, anything. When it comes to astrology, it can be something massive that affects the rest, the next year, 5 years, 10 years, 30 years of your life, even longer than that. Or it can be something as simple, as subtle as just ordering food that day. All things apply in astrology. All things apply. So therefore, with your third house, Venus being in your third house, that does point to you commerce, speaking to somebody, trading with somebody, maybe bargaining with somebody. This probably points to you bargaining with somebody, trying to get to a diplomatic reasoning, speaking about your moral values with a brother, a sister, a neighbor, a cousin, speaking about your moral values, where you stand on certain topics. And with them in conjunction, and with them in the same sign as Pluto, you maybe be obsessive over how you want it to be. When it comes to your ninth house, you're going to have the moon in Cancer. The moon in Cancer being in your ninth house is going to point to you having a very happy time emotionally at home. You're going to be at happy time at home. You may travel with your family members at home, with your family members to a different home, maybe to your cousin's house, some other form of happiness regarding your family, going to a bigger house, buying and living in a bigger home, things of that nature as well. Cooking at home with the family, just emotional happiness during that day. Now let's go to the end of the month. 29 degrees in the moon, about 29 degrees. About 29 degrees. Not the moon, the sun being 29 degrees. For you, Scorpio, is going to be, the moon will be 1 degree. I need you to realize the moon moves about, on average, 13.3 degrees a day. That means the moon can move as slow as 11 degrees. It can change its position a whole 11 degrees, or it can change its position anywhere as far as 15 degrees per day. And if you are in here, please hit that like button. It really does help me too. If you can be in here and hit that like button, the moon will change its position in a ranging amount of speed, going from 13.3 degrees on average. With that in mind, depending on your rising sign, or your sun sign, depending on where we are in our geo-coordinate position on Earth, sunlight does not refract off the Earth evenly. This is because the Earth is not perfectly round. And depending not only on your geo-coordinate position here on Earth, if you live in New York, you are somewhere around 74 degrees west and about anywhere from 19 degrees north. No, I have it up here. You're about 40 degrees north and about 74 degrees west if you live in New York, around the metropolitan area. Depending on your geo-coordinate position, will show you your ascendant. And depending on where we are in our position, and depending on where we are in our position around the sun at the time of we are in the year, we're currently in Sagittarius season. So for the sake of argument, let's just say we're right here in our 360 degree orbital pattern around the sun. So depending on you being right here and at what angle the sunlight is currently hitting you as the earth spins itself, all determines where exactly the moon will be. So for all other earlier signs I gave, on this date, on 29 degrees of the sun's rotation, on 29 degrees of us being in Sagittarius, for Scorpios and later signs after Scorpio, the moon is going to be in Sagittarius. So therefore, since now you now know that, since the moon will already be in Sagittarius, because the moon is the fastest moving luminary, or better yet, celestial body in the heavens that we can track, or that we track, we use that one. The ascendant is a mathematical position based on the angle of refracting light from the sun from your position on the ecliptic that we consider sunrise. So moon being in Sagittarius, being in your second house, Scorpio, that does point to you on that day having being emotionally tied into your value system. But when it comes for the moon, that is the sixth, eighth house effect. From your second house to the moon is an eighth house transit. From the transiting moon to your eighth house, to your second house of Sagittarius, that is a sixth house movement. That is work, that is your livelihood, that is your routine. And the eighth house is life in general. The sixth house points to your routines in life. It points to your work, your routines, your livelihood. And The 8th house points to life in general, as in the start of life, the regeneration period of life, the decaying period of life, and the end of life. So understand that dichotomy in itself. But that was it for Scorpio. I do not remember exactly where Leo ended. I don't remember exactly. I'm going to say that it ended, it may not be exact, but you know, Leo ended at, I'm going to say, when did I say 50? I'm going to say an hour, 05, 05, 05, 00. I'm going to say that's when Leo ended. No, Leo, Virgo, not Leo. Libra. Virgo, Libra. Libra ended. And you're going to say Scorpio ended. It may overlap a little bit. No problem with that. At 1:21:17. And I will catch y'all later tonight for the final stream.